I'm seeing the flames coming out of the roof, and I'm really worried about this. Whoa.
A Winnipeg school goes up in flames.
Tonight, the fire that crews have been battling for most of the afternoon.
Yeah, it was pretty freaky that day.
The day of the fire actually was the day before Ash Wednesday, and that afternoon Father Monty had taken the grades 1 and 2s outside, and they were burning the palms for Ash Wednesday. So when they came back inside, there was sort of that residual smell of the smoke that was in the school.
Well, first of all, the after-school lady phoned up to the office to say that there was a smell of smoke, so I called Mr. Kara, our principal, to go down and check it out. And he phoned up and said, "We have a fire, phone it in."
Basically, one of the children came up to the office and said that they smelled smoke in the boys' change rooms or washrooms, so I went down to check it out.
I'm eating snack and I was just about to go to the bathroom when I heard Nick in grade 4, he came back and told me there's a fire in the bathroom after he just came back, and I said, I guess I'll have to wait.
I looked in and I saw smoke coming out of the roof, and in some of the lights, like where the lights are, smoke was coming out there. So
As I walked in, the ceiling cover on the fan fell and I saw flames, so I grabbed a fire extinguisher, put it out, looked at the parent, told her to pull the fire alarm, and evacuated the school.
Mr. Carey, he dumped a few buckets of water, it didn't work, it kept burning, and then Mr. James, he came and he put a mask on and did the fire extinguisher thing on the fire. It didn't work.
Thought we had put the fire out, and as the firemen arrived, we walked them down calmly, walked them down the hall, and then they couldn't get at the ceiling, so they went outside. That's when we noticed more smoke coming out of the top, so we knew it was definitely more of a problem.
At the beginning, it wasn't that bad, and then
Smoke coming out of the roof. There's just
and then it
smoke
got
coming
worse.
out. And then there's a guy the roof came getting the roof off, so they put it out.
there were lots of flames, I remember, and there was smoke everywhere.
I remember seeing a lot of smoke coming out of the doors, and I didn't think it was that big of a fire. I heard lots of people saying there was a fire, but I thought it was just like a little trash can fire.
Mostly the smoke starting, and then it became more and more evident that it wasn't going out.
It was yellow smoke coming out of the school. Like yellow.
Once you were outside, you could see the smoke coming out from the fence, but it was just like pouring out of there. And it took about maybe 3 minutes before the fire department came.
And the firemen were very fast getting here. Whole slew of fire trucks for the school.
I told my uncle to come pick me up, and he said, okay, I'll pick you up. And then I called about a minute later saying that the school was on fire, and he thought that I was kidding, so he said, I'm coming already. You don't have to make up a story. I'm like, I'm not making up a story.
But some of the girls were having basketball practice, so they all had to like go in their shorts and t-shirts, and they were freezing.
We ran out and we saw our gym teacher just saying get out and say run. And so we were all running in our shorts and t-shirts and ran outside.
They were all pretty cold because they were all in shorts and t-shirts.
And I remember there was this one guy in our class. He didn't have shoes on and he gave away his jacket, and after he was just walking in his bare feet to the church.
The firefighters were trying to knock down, break holes in the roof, smashing in and getting water going. And the principal was trying to keep the kids back. The parents were standing around keeping the kids back, and everybody was just sort of like, wow. And at first there was nothing but smoke. And then once they put the axe to the roof, the flames just went shooting up.
When the firemen were trying to put it out on the roof, we heard that them yelling at each other, evacuate from the roof, because it was collapsing in.
We heard on the car radio that there was a fire at the school, and he said, do you want to
go by and take a look? I said, yeah, we'll go by, it's probably nothing, but the building was absolutely burning down out there, so it was very sad. And I was thinking about, I've been here since 1988, so I had lots and lots of personal things in there.
Well, it started about 20 after 3, and it must have been after 6 before they got it completely down.
They tried one spot, it wasn't going out, then they'd get it kind of under control, and then it would go out to the next spot. So virtually we were sitting outside watching, not knowing what was going on, and trying to ensure that students outside were finding their parents.
I guess, well, my first concern and was to know that everybody was safe and that there was no injuries. Everybody safely got out of the building.
At this time, it was just to make sure we had absolutely everybody out. Had the fire department to sweep the school twice to make sure. Then we went down to the, with the kids that we did have, we went down to the church basement and made sure all the parents are contacted and that they could reach us. And then I stood outside for the next hour and a half watching the fire burn.
I remember standing in the schoolyard looking at the flames shooting out the ceiling or the roof of the school, thinking, that was my grade 8 classroom when I was a kid.
It's just, I went to St. Ignatius School when I was younger, and so it was almost like a part of me. Like, it was my history. That was my kindergarten classroom burning, my grade 2 classroom, and my grade 1 classroom. And
there was water everywhere. The tower part was burnt, and all the classroom windows looked like they were blacked out. It was as if the wing was haunted.
It was pretty sad, but happy that school was out, but sad that our school was on fire.
I didn't really know what to feel, because I think it's like every kid's dream to have their school on fire.
And then I started really worrying when I thought about the library being burnt down, because reading is one of my favorite passions.
But the miracle was, and there's never been a solid explanation, but because of that brick wall, somehow it was protected and the water didn't go down. There was only a little puddle at the bottom of the steps.
I mean, it was just things that were damaged. You know, it was just material things. Like, yes, it's a building, but no one was hurt. It was just items and materials that were burned. It wasn't our hearts, like our spirit.
Basically, I think one of the things that really helped us out was that the whole staff attended the Ash Wednesday service, which is a different way of celebrating Ash Wednesday, like I told the fire chief.
We didn't manage it. We all pulled together and get the school reopened, and we wanted to get things back to normal as quickly as possible for the kids.
The planning session, of course, a lot of this stuff, just absolutely, that first week, getting back into the school within 5 days, and that first week would not have happened without Chris James. I mean, he was is critical and crucial to the whole process. The amount of extra work that he did to get us back into operation and settled was amazing.
We originally there had been talk about the government lending us one of those portable classrooms, but then they found out there wasn't one available between Quebec and the Rocky Mountains, so there was no way we're getting one of those.
I think it was like a month. 2 weeks. I think it was 9 days.
I'd say about a week and a half we were back in full operation. I mean, the quarters were tight for the whole year, but with the amount of cooperation that we got for the rest of the year, it wasn't a major issue with anybody.
We managed to keep everybody in the main body of the building, which fortunately, no damage.
And we shifted a few people out. The French teacher gave up her room. We used the science lab for the grade 8 classroom. Kindergarten was moved into a different room.
Grade 1 moved into the Sunday school room, well, the old Sunday school room. Grade 2 moved into the French room, and K moved into grade 8. And grade 8 moved into the science lab. But grade 5, 6, and 7, they were still there. Some were 4 and 3, so most of it was still normal.
So the kids came back and their rooms looked like, you know, this is okay. It's gonna be okay.
It was weird because there was like a big block where you can't go, and then everyone was rearranging. It's confusing. Yeah.
I think the kids were a little edgy the first day, but they quickly got settled into their new spots, and we said, hey, it's all over, everything's fine, everything's safe. The teachers were great with them. And then we did have a celebration where we had the firefighters come, and so we could thank them and have a little reopening celebration, which I think helped a lot.
It was almost as though it was like a new beginning, coming back to school and getting back into the routine. It was almost like they were talking about like what they had lost. Oh, I lost my book, or oh, I lost my this in the fire. That's okay, I didn't have to do my homework. And
the homemade or the teacher-made materials are probably lost. The ideas were maintained. All of our library books, classroom supplies were all replaced through the fire.
I've made lots of things over the year that I stored in a little Tupperware container, and you go to get it and it's not there. So at night now I'm just doing, I feel like a first year teacher.
Well, there were lots of fire drills after that.
Yeah, just for...
To be prepared.
Yeah.
If there was another one.
It was in a way a blessing because we got a whole new wing out of it. And that was the old creaky wing that had been there for years.
Because they made a new one where the office was, because Mrs. Colton wanted to move the office or something. And now the French room's up there, and they did the staff room over in the French room. So now the old staff room is the after-school room. The after-school room space is now the kindergarten room. The kindergarten room space is the grade 1 room space. You get my point.
I wish that I was in kindergarten because it's like awesome. Like all the other rooms are totally redone.
It's so nice.
Have their own personal bathroom and everything.
Yeah. The bathrooms up there are bigger than they were before. Yeah.
Like this side used to be the newer part, and that side used to be the old part. But now that side's the
And now they're way different.
Yeah.
Oh, I like kind of like the potty so you stand up. I like that. And the sinks are pretty good too. I like the sinks. I like the sinks too. And now there is a way louder alarm.
Yeah,
so,
and it's installed over there.
So it'll everybody will hear it.
I think it's changed a lot. Like, I think the community has gotten stronger and closer, and the school looks great.
You know, I think we learned through this that as a team we can kind of do anything. We just, like I said earlier, we got into this high gear and we just saw we can do it.
We're all pretty much back to normal. It's not really anything different. It's just something that we've done, and it's just part of our path of St. Ignatius.
I think it's made us probably closer as a community within the school and probably within the church community.
It made us realize that things like this don't just happen to other people on the news. It can happen to us, and we just have to be safe and just cautious and conscious of the fact that we have to be safe, and we just have to make sure that we're happy and counting our blessings as much as we can.